Good morning, friends. Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel right here. Hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. There's a special weather statement down in southern British Columbia for heavy rainfall, and it is currently happening. Let's have a quick look at this. And when this rainfall is done, things are going to clear up for a day or two, and then more bad weather coming into the province after that. Okay, let's go. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on! Wow.
I'll watch the video later. They try mopping this. Here we are on radar this morning. You can see what that special weather statement is in effect. We'll just click on the information here. Localized flooding is possible with risk of landslides, sudden reduction in visibility because of heavy rain, especially in thunderstorms that could be popping up inside this large rainy area. We have the potential for locally heavy rain today through tonight, especially for the areas of Highway 1 from Ashcroft to Three Valley Gap. Heavy rain could develop along a front passing through the area today. Current weather model guidance is suggesting locally heavy rainfall amounts. However, there remains some uncertainty as to the exact locations and rainfall totals. In the event heavy rainfall materializes over sensitive areas such as burn scars, there's a heightened risk of localized flooding and debris flow. That's what we're partly worried about, is flash flooding and things like that. Seems like some of the heavier rain right now is nearing the cusp, sort of outside the zone. But as you can see, almost the entire zone that's been delineated under the special weather statement is currently being rained on, except for the North Thompson and whatnot. So that's what we're looking at today. That's what we're talking about in today's video. Other Western Canada stories is a lot of special air quality statements from a lot of smoke. Manitoba's seeing a lot of smoke, Saskatchewan some, Ontario some, and then we have a heat warning which will pass today in Saskatchewan and Alberta. That will move on out as the cold front passes through there, and that cold front, though, unfortunately might trigger even tornadoes and large hail, severe thunderstorms across large sections of the prairies. Make sure you watch my video from last night to get all the details on that. Things will cool down after this moves on through there. Should be the last of your hot days today on Wednesday. So a day left of the heat warnings, but look at some of the temperatures they had there in Alberta, just nudging past a couple old records. I mean, they really just nudged past Bow Island, like 0.1 beat its old record. That's at 32.6, its new record. Calgary just nudged out its old record. 31.8 is the new record. You know, that's not crazy. Drumheller, 33.6. That's a full degree, so that's a bit more of a eclipsing. Same with Sundre, Esther, maybe a little less so, a little less of a change, but some temperature breaks there. And we had Summerland break its old record yesterday by 0.7 degrees Celsius. Very warm in Summerland yesterday, which was probably partly behind the fuel that made for a couple strong thunderstorms in the Caribou last night, a couple severe warm storms. You know, and I was saying off and on for a few days, like, I'm really surprised to see no thunderstorms in the modeling with the amount of heat there and the cold from the north. Well, and when you add all the moisture that was coming in off the coast, turns out that was correct, but very hard to predict, and I went out to try to get a view of it last night. Didn't see much from my vantage point, unfortunately. Kind of missing the thunderstorms, missing the lightning. If you would consider hitting the thanks button, help keep the guy going here. Desperately trying to keep this channel afloat and my life. Here's our significant weather outlook today. Do have some non-severe thunderstorm threat possible up on the Dempster Highway. Then a little bit of this threat here through southern BC, where we have our special weather statement that we were just looking at. Area B, probably not as high of a risk for severe storm as for heavy downbursts and rain fall from any particular cell that can be a little bit more cohesive. I think the area A is an area where we might see some stronger thunderstorms. However, the conditions aren't really there for severe. So severe is probably not a problem. I think mostly it's the rainfall today that's going to be the severe. As we were looking at in the video last night, severe-wise, go have a look at the prairies today. Boom. A little bit of an update on this, but we have concerns for Area A and C, which are both in Calgary to Saskatoon, of tornadoes possible, right? So make sure you check my forecast from last night. That 3 to 5 centimeter hail in Area C, pretty big, could be as big as golf balls. And in the Area A, going over towards Saskatoon, the hail a little bit smaller, but look at the dumping of rain in there, 30 to 50 mils. In that C area, close to Calgary, close to Red Deer, you could be seeing 120-kilometer gusts of wind. So very dangerous storms today. Brandon Houck is a little less sure about these guys here in Manitoba. He says there's a cap in place and the trigger isn't quite there, but I don't know. Environment Canada's got that moderate threat on, so I'm going to go with their wisdom, 3 to 5 centimeter hail. Oof. And so here's how we start today. That band of rainfall, kind of from the lower mainland all the way across, kind of to Edmonton almost. Up in the far north, a little bit of snow still falling up there in places. We'll push the graphic on through, see how that rain lingers for a little while longer, lingers through the day. Caribou, I think towards Caribou Mountains here, probably see rain again before this is all done out. Yeah, look at that. Good signal. And then pick itself on up. Look at this snowfall in the high country. Snowfall coming into Friday morning. There it is, moving on down the Rockies. Some more snowfall. Told you yesterday in my other video, snowfall was the possibility. Now, a nice little warm-up. We're like, yeah, summer's finally here. And we'll see how long that lasts. Here's our closer look at it. You can see where our rain is lingering in southern British Columbia. You can see where a little bit of that snowfall still up in northern BC is possible. See that low up in Yellowknife area dumping some heavy rain up there. We're hoping some of that can make its way into Fort Nelson. And we're seeing where rain will be pretty heavy near the Revelstoke area especially. While we're concerned that areas with burn scars on them could trigger some slides and things like that, washouts, or maybe even localized or flash flooding. So some threats there today. You can see how that energy makes its way into Alberta. This should be interesting to see because there's, like I say, that tornado threat there today. That's quite spooky. Revelstoke, you're going to be taking a lot of rain, heavy rain today. Heavy rain. And we're just hoping some more of this can come into that northeast corner of BC. Some of this can move on through and dump some rain on our target fires there. They've been pretty active still this last little while, despite the fact that there's really nothing in BC for the rest of the province really going on fire-wise. Okay, well, however, hit that rain there at 3 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon now, watching it go on by, seeing it make its way into Alberta. Got that one large storm that I think the Kindersley area is probably going to be in some major threat today. So some isolated strong thunderstorms, that rainfall continuing into the night down in southern British Columbia. Not going well for Revelstoke area. Looking out for your heavy rain totals in Ravi. Yeah, definitely. Southern Caribou, looking at some rain there. Will I get lucky here? The Canadian model seems to think so, whereas the American model doesn't. Strong rainfall now, making its way in a large band moving downwards towards Calgary, moving down the Rockies, moving down the Rocky Mountain Trench. Seeing a little bit of snow in the mountaintops as it does that. Seeing areas like High River being pretty close to the like the Kananaskis side where that heavier rain is. So heavy rainfall, and then finally we get a little bit of a break. And we'll see. The Canadian model doesn't seem to think that Wells gets much snow or much rain, whereas the GFS really wanted to indicate that we are probably going to be getting more rain in the mountains here. And my sense on rainfall in the Caribou Mountains is, if one model says yes and one model says no, go with the model that says yes because it's the Caribou Mountains. That's what's going to happen. Okay, it's not going to last very long, this nice weather break we get, folks. So if we go have a look at Friday afternoon, sure, that's great. 26 degrees for Vernon, but already we're probably having some more snow in Prince George by then. By the weekend again, maybe some warmer temperatures, 26 up in Williams Lake or something like that. Closer to summertime values, but we got this new low starting on the coast there, and that's what we'll be watching next to see what happens. Does it bring thunderstorms into the province? It seems like maybe it does, although it looks like for us, so far the logic is more rain than lightning. So we're definitely concerned about landslides, localized flooding, flash flooding, things like that. Pay attention to warnings, pay attention to changing conditions. Think about the things you're doing. If you're near very dry rivers that have had wildfires in the past and you're laying around in there, realize that there may be a threat that water level could come up on you. And, that's what happens in the mountain gullies, especially water gets funneled on down. Okay, that's the show for this morning. Hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Keep the dude in business, please. Again, thanks. Bye for now.